Villains are one of the most important characters of a good story, as they are the main obstacle or opposition for the main character to get through in order to reach their ultimate goal. But damn, some of them dumb as hell, starting with... I'm just gonna go ahead and say, if this motherfucker Muzan decided not to steal Michael Jackson's whole flow, aura, and all, this man would be getting flamed 10 times more than he is right now for being an absolute nincompoop. First of all, you're meaning to tell me that this smooth criminal got rage baited by a doctor that gave him immortality, but because it didn't take immediate effect and didn't instant regen his health, bro killed him out of pure idiocy because he ain't ever heard the words trust the process a day in his life. And killing that doctor was basically him sealing his fate of his dumbass life for centuries to come, because his doctor was the only person who knew where the flower for his cure came from. And instead of trying to gain connections to people without making much of a scene and trying to find a permanent cure of his issue, instead decided to venture down the path of doing the absolute most by becoming the damn king of demons. And down this path, he came across the motherfucker that would eventually be the reason for Muzan having centuries of PTSD. Bro can't sleep at night because of this one man, Yoriichi. And bro, this very first and only time they threw down, this man was dead ass turning Muzan into a hibachi meal and was cooking the hell out of him. The only reason bro lived was because he ran away like a bitch. Fast forward a few centuries later, and bro finds a spitting image of the motherfucker who gave him PTSD in Tanjiro. And bro, if I saw some motherfucker that looked similar to my op who sliced and diced my ass, had me running for my life, and comes from the family that passed down your op's method of killing you from generation to generation, you best believe I would stain that motherfucker myself as soon as I would get the chance. Bro, I gotta mention what happened to Muzan right before the Infinity Castle. How the fuck you gonna have a whole scene walking while aura farming for an entire 10 minutes in front of the Ubayashiki residence with smoke wafting around you doing your best Drake impression and everything, but then get surprised when you get boomed when you pull up? And bro, thank God Ubayashiki had a plan and didn't get dropped on the head when he was born, unlike Muzan, because what were you expecting just strolling into bro's own home? He for real thought she was gonna be barbecue chicken? This man Ubayashiki said he'd rather die trying to go down with him than letting Muzan have that sort of satisfaction. And from this point on is where Muzan's downfall started snowballing out of control. Despite how dumb this motherfucker Muzan is, you could chalk it up to him just being way too prideful and arrogant. But this next guy that we about to talk about might actually make you think, why the fuck is he a villain in the first place? We got this, man. Now, I know I mainly talk about anime on this channel, but bro, you gotta make an exception for the absolute peak that Invincible is, and for its birth of one of the dumbest supervillains I think I've ever seen. Because there isn't a single excuse for the amount of bullshit that Angstrom has caused throughout the entire show so far. Angstrom started out as a scientist that wanted to gather all the knowledge from all the other Angstrom Levys in other universes to essentially find a way to build a society that solved problems like world hunger and diseases. And these sound like really good things he's trying to do, and sounds like a really decent person. Until his machine boomed on him. This is where everything changed, because when his machine exploded, when he tried to gain the knowledge of every single Angstrom Levy, all that happened were the memories of his different variants flooded into his head from every other universe, where in their universes, all their invincibles are evil, and all he can think of is the heinous crimes that bro committed in all these other universes right in front of their eyes. So it started messing with his head, and this is where he actually started tweaking and started hating on Invincible, vowing to kill him. My issue with Angstrom is that instead of targeting his hatred toward any or all of the other evil Invincible variants that he saw through the memories of his other variants and trying to get back at them, he instead decides to push all his pent-up frustration onto the only good variant of Invincible. Like, bro, what do you mean? This is genuinely stupidity on another level. This is like your girl getting mad at you because she had a dream that you cheated on her in her dream. Not to mention that the way that that Angstrom goes about this unwarranted hatred for Mark is genuinely preposterous. First off, this man decided to fuck with his mom and his toddler of a brother by holding them hostage in their own house. And then he decided to break his mom's arm and beat the shit out of her in front of Oliver. And on top of that, hurl Oliver around like a rag doll. Like, dog, what is wrong with you? Then after you get your ass beat by Mark while trying to kill him and failing to realize and fully comprehend that he's actually a hero, you then start an entire war to spite him while using the evil variant of Invincible to go fuck with his world. The exact same motherfuckers that killed or completely traumatized your variants and made you even hate Invincible in the first place. However, instead of taking out your revenge on them, you decide to make the only good Mark have an even worse life and put up with more bullshit than he has to deal with. And bro, you gotta feel bad for Mark. On top of all these villains that Mark has to deal with already, menaces like Conquest and Anissa, he gotta deal with KSI's stupid ass, all because he has a mentally unstable dick riding obsession over the completely wrong Invincible. But if there's any villain I know that's even dumber than Angstrom, they have stood the test of time for selling the bag for decades against some 10-year-old with a yellow rat. We got Jesse, James, and Meowth are some of the most iconic villains from my childhood, and honestly, they are not even evil like that for real. They low-key beat Ashton's parents because if anything, they always on this motherfucker like glue the entire series watching him. They were even cheering him on when he was battling to become champion. These three were there for Ash more than his own damn parents. But god damn, these motherfuckers are stupid as hell. I'm convinced that Team Rocket are descendants of people with severe CTE because, bro, watching these motherfuckers try to scheme something up is like watching cavemen bang rocks together. Alright, bro, I don't know how the fuck you gonna try to steal this man's Pikachu for damn near 20 years and never once succeed at all. How the hell do you go 0 for 10,000 tries at trying to capture Ash's Pikachu and you still keep trying? That's the equivalent of trying to shoot a three-pointer 100 times and you don't even hit the rim on any of the attempts. I mean, I'll give it to them, I guess. They have hella dedication. But bro, you would assume they would get better at trying to outsmart Ash since, you know, they're adults and sometimes it seems to work at first, but they somehow manage to just fuck it up very last second. And I don't know how, to be honest. Because if I tried stealing some kid's Pikachu every day and I never once sniffed success, I would be reassessing my entire life's existence and finding another job to do. Because dog, they're not built for this shit. But instead, they decide to stalk him around the entire earth trying to catch Ash lacking. But it just never works, bro. And bro, the fact that these motherfuckers dedicated damn near their entire life to try to steal a Pikachu is actually sad as fuck. And bro, at some point you gotta think, don't they got dreams or don't they have anything better to do than tomfoolery with Ash's squad every single day? And you know what makes this shit even worse? Ash has been a 10-year-old kid the entire fucking time. And if y'all watch Pokemon at some time during your childhood, y'all know that this motherfucker Ash is low-key slow as hell, especially during Unova. So the fact that he low-key dumb, plus the fact he hasn't grown up at all, and they still couldn't succeed once, is genuinely concerning. In conclusion, I genuinely feel bad for all these dumbass villains.